The Sahara Desert is made up of 9 million square kilometers in total, which means it could swallow Spain 18 times over. However, did you know that this enormous expanse of infertile sand that covers 1/3 of the African continent was once covered with rich vegetation? What became of the Sahara, and what's going on with it right now? Hello there everyone, welcome back to our channel. Scientists reveal the terrifying secrets underneath the Sahara Desert in today's video. To receive notifications whenever a new video is uploaded, you must first subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon. Let's get this started right away. The Atlantic Ocean is bounded on the west by the Sahara, on the east by the Red Sea, on the north by the Mediterranean Sea, and on the south by the Sahel Savanna. Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Western Sahara, Sudan, and Tunisia make up the vast desert. The Sahara Desert is well known for its sand dune fields, which have been frequently seen in films. The dunes can reach about 600 feet or 183 meters in height. However, they only cover around 15% of the whole desert. Mountains, plateaus, sand and gravel-covered plains, salt flats, basins and depressions are among the other topographical features. How did the Sahara become the severe arid environment it is now, given that it was once a tropical region? The answer to this question takes us thousands of years back in time. These variations are generated by minor wobbles in the tilt of the Earth's orbital axis, which varies the angle at which solar radiation enters the atmosphere. Throughout Earth's history, there has been greater energy streaming in from the sun during the West African monsoon season at regular intervals. During these periods, known as African humid periods, a lot more rain falls on North Africa. More rain means more flora, rivers, and lakes in the region. But something weird happened between 8,000 and 4,500 years ago. The change from humid to dry occurred faster in some regions than orbital precession alone could explain, resulting in the Sahara Desert as we know it today. Archaeologist David Wright describes what happened next in his investigation. As he combed through the archaeological and environmental data, primarily from sediment cores and pollen records, all of which were dated to the same period, he saw what appeared to be a pattern. There was a comparable alteration in the sorts of variety of plants wherever the archaeological record revealed the presence of pastoralists, that is, humans with domesticated animals. It seemed as if every time humans and their goats and cattle hopped across the grasslands, they left a trail of brush and desert in the wake. This led right to the conclusion that by overgrazing the grass, they were reducing atmospheric moisture. You know, plants give out moisture, which causes clouds, and increasing albedo. According to him, this may have precipitated the end of the humid period more suddenly than the orbital shifts can explain. These nomadic humans may have also utilized fire as a land management tool, which would have accelerated the desert's spread. Do you imagine whales frolicking on the sweeping sand dunes when you think of the Sahara Desert? Well, that is exceedingly doubtful, because whales cannot survive outside of water. There is evidence that the present whale's relatives previously swam around in the hot African desert. In 1902, a group of geologists led their camels into a region in Egypt's western desert. Centuries of powerful wind had molded sandstone boulders into unique shapes, and the moonlight was so bright at night that it made the sand glitter like gold. Because of the terrible summer heat, a nearby hill was dubbed the Mountain of Hell. Whale bones were discovered in this dry valley. The skeletons were up to 50 feet long, with vertebrae as thick as campfire logs. They dated back 37 million years to a time when this area and all of northern Egypt was covered by a shallow tropical sea. And although the geologists weren't aware of it at the time, the prehistoric specimens under the sand would provide answers to one of the evolution's most vexing questions: how whales became whales. The existence of feet is one of the clues discovered from these long-dead whales. Scientists had long thought that whales were terrestrial creatures that had slowly migrated into the water over millions of years, losing their four legs along the way. Modern whales have vestigial hind limb bones as proof of this, but there was no evidence of the shift in the fossil record until paleontologists began digging through hundreds of whale fossils buried in Wadi Haitan and discovered legs and knees. Although older-footed whale fossils have been identified, the number and degree of preservation at Wadi Haitan are unprecedented. The valley, which is roughly a 3-hour drive from Cairo, is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site that receives over 14,000 visitors each year. Paleontologists believe whales' predecessors were deer or pig-like scavengers who lived near the water. They began spending more time in the water some 55 million years ago, first eating dead fish by the shore, then hunting prey in the shallows, and ultimately venturing further. As they progressed, some of them developed characteristics that assisted in aquatic hunting. They grew in size throughout time as they no longer had to bear their entire body weight at sea, their backbones elongating and their rib cages expanding. The majority of the fossils in the valley are of two sorts. The giant, with an almost eel-like body, was Basilosaurus. The relatively tiny but strongly muscled Dorudon resembled a modern whale until its mouth opened to show a jaw laced with serrated daggers rather than peg-like teeth. Interestingly, more than 75 whale fossils have been discovered in Chile's Atacama Desert. Scientists have been debating how they landed up there. Have you ever heard about the lost metropolis of Atlantis? You'll be surprised to learn how this famous city is linked to the next discovery in the Sahara Desert. This leads us to the Sahara's Eye, commonly known as the Richat structure or the Guelb-e-Richat. It's a geological structure in the Sahara Desert that looks like a massive bull's eye. The formation spans a 40-kilometer wide swath of Mauritania's desert. For millennia, only a few nomadic tribes in the area were aware of the creation. It was photographed for the first time by the Gemini astronauts in 1960s, who used it as a landmark to measure the progress of their landing sequences. Later, the Landsat satellite captured additional photographs and supplied data on the size, height, and extent of the formation. Geologists once thought the Eye of the Sahara was an impact crater formed when a space object collided with the land. Long-term investigations of the rocks inside the structure, however, reveal that its origins are wholly Earth-based, forcing geologists to explore alternative explanations. Geologists believe the Eye of the Sahara is a geologic dome. The formation comprises rocks that are at least 100 million years old, with some dating back to before life on Earth existed. These rocks contain igneous volcanic deposits and sedimentary strata formed by the wind pushing dust, water, sand, and mud deposits. Geologists can now detect kimberlite, carbonatites, black rhyolites, and kimberlite in the Eye area, among other types of igneous rocks. However, there is another reason behind the Sahara Eye. The search for Atlantis has been continuing since 350 BC, when the Greek philosopher Plato first described a mystery island that appeared to have vanished. Instead, he proposes that the mythological city is actually located in the Eye of the Sahara. Solon, an ancient Greek statesman, is said to have passed on facts about Atlantis to Plato. The city is not just the precise size and shape Plato mentioned, 23.5 kilometers across and circular, but that the mountains he described to the north can be seen pretty clearly on satellite imagery as proof of old rivers that Plato claimed ran around the city. Plato claimed that Atlantis was destroyed and sunk beneath the waves in a single day and night of woe. The scientific record does demonstrate that the Earth experienced considerable climate change around 11,500 years ago, when Atlantis is said to have vanished. The satellite footage looks like the aftermath of a tsunami, which no one alive today would have witnessed. Take a look at the Eye of the Sahara satellite map. Isn't it true that the entire region appears to have been blasted by flowing water or a tsunami? The Sahara Desert continues to provide mysteries, and the next one is about a device discovered there whose functions are unknown to this day. It's the Clayton Ring, and even more perplexingly, these rings were discovered in Egypt's most hostile section of the Sahara Desert. Clayton rings are conical clay cylinders, open at both ends and named for the geographer and desert explorer P.A. Clayton, 1896 to 1962. They are always found with one or more perforated clay discs that are just slightly larger than the smaller aperture of the ring but do not fit as lids. Some were constructed as a set by potters, while others, like the ones on show, were reworked from antique ceramic jars and sherds. The Egyptians who lived beside the Nile did not use these artifacts. Instead, they were an essential element of the nomadic herders' toolkit in the Dakhla oasis during Egypt's early dynasties, known as the Sheikh Mufta civilization. Clayton rings and discs have been discovered in the oasis amid seasonal hunting and herding camps of the civilization, but also in caches up to 300 kilometers away from permanent water supplies and beyond any herdsman or hunter's safe roaming range. What made these things so important that individuals went to such lengths to transport Clayton rings across the desert? This is a question that remains unanswered. That was the end of today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. If you liked it, please tell your friends and subscribe to our channel for more great videos and up-to-date information. We look forward to seeing you in more videos in the future.